You're watching the number one podcast, the only one that matters in the wrestling community. I'm Juan,
And I'm
and
John Paul Leek.
we are the hosts, and you're watching
Rope.
Outbreak. And you're watching NXT review today, family. How you doing tonight? Of course, every Thursday night we review Wednesday. That is the best night in professional wrestling. We want to say thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for all the subscribers, the new ones, the new faces, old faces, everybody that's been with us throughout this crazy week. It's going to be one of the busiest weeks that we ever had, ever since the show has been on the air. But we're committed to all of you guys, and we're never gonna stop. You probably say we're crazy. It's fine because we are crazy and we love to do this. So Jean Paul has a great review on AEW Dynamite. Great match with Kenny Omega and Pac. Some spots didn't make any sense. The outcome of this match didn't make a lot of sense. But please check the video out. And now we're gonna check the other show, part of the Wednesday Night Wars, NXT. So Jean Paul, another NXT that doesn't really fulfill our expectations. Did it?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. Like you said, I think it was better than last week's show. But, I mean, this week, maybe it was just the main event and, seeing Charlotte Flair win. And, again, you knew she was going to win. That's the way it was going to go. But, I don't know. It was just nothing exciting. Maybe it's because I want to see the Broserweights. I want to see Keith Lee. I want to see the big names. I mean, the one thing that did happen that I was really excited for is the potential of Finn Balor and Walter.
Yeah. That was probably the best thing on the whole show.
Yeah, that to me, really made the show. Everything else was, a little bit predictable. I mean, seeing the Velveteen Dream and
Roderick Strong.
Yeah. Too many names to remember. Roderick Strong. He, that is going to be a legit match, next week. So 2 steel cages. Next week should be a good show, but this week was a little better than last. But I still feel, not as good. They're still kind of in the autopilot mode. I hate to say that, but from Portland.
It seems that way. That they're kind of still coming out of Portland, and it was that exciting. It was that exciting. It was everybody was so invested into this that these 2 weeks have been a little flat for everybody. Especially, I will say, with Charlotte winning over Bianca Belair. I don't think that was the right decision. Just because, for example, I was still calling, and I will still defend my view on that. I still want to see the triple threat match. Maybe that's the route they're going to do. I don't know if maybe because of this outcome that Charlotte beat Bianca. For Jean Paul, the Booker is done. For me, Bianca still deserves a spot in that match for the NXT Championship. Make it a triple threat. But we're going to cover everything, and we're going to do it right now because we have for you guys, after this video, we are actually going to have everything that happened on Super Showdown because we're that crazy. So, Mr. Egg, Charlotte Flair is shown arriving outside of Full Sail, and William Regal is greeting her. Why do you have to play so much, royal? Is Charlotte royalty or some kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, she's the queen. Don't you listen to the show? Do you have it muted? Of course, come on. They gotta kiss her ass because it's Ric Flair's daughter, which, again, Ric Flair suing WWE, some bullshit thing. I don't even know if it's over the man, if it's because he spends all his money on women and drink. I don't know what his, reason suing them is, but... I don't know why, they should punish her. They punish everybody else, but they don't punish her. But that's because Vince loves his blondes, whatever the reason is. But yeah, like you said, William Regal came out there, and of course, I like when Regal flirts with the women. To me, it's funny. It's part of his character. You clearly saw he was checking out Charlotte and, the natural enhancements or natural selection, whatever you want to call it. And he's like, yeah, ooh-wee, and... okay, but then she's like, "Oh, get my bags." You're gonna tell the GM to get your bags, and then of course he had some goon there to get the bags for him. But it's what is? Yes, like you said, they make such a big deal. It's she should have been coming in there and giving the people hugs. When you see other veterans come down to NXT, they're like, "Hey,
it's
a family."
It's she's doing a favor by going down, to NXT. So that at that part already, 2 minutes into the show, I'm like, okay, this doesn't make all the sense in the world. I would like to see a more humble Charlotte, but it's part of the character. So
yeah, and she's playing the heel as well.
She's playing the heel. So one match that Jean Paul love a lot. I know that because it's his He's one of his guys, one of his staple guys. Dominic Dijakovic against Cameron Grimes. That's how the show opened up. Extremely legit match. Another good showing for Cameron Grimes. And in this situation, he actually gets the win.
Yeah,
He
and of
beats
course,
Dijakovic, so
yeah,
that was to me a
yeah.
little different.
I mean, of course, it wasn't a clean win, but Damian Priest did interfere in the
Yes.
match, and so there was all that, and that kind of sets up, because to me, I feel like if you're looking at these two guys in a clean match, no interference, Dijakovic should win.
Yes.
But you can't
Yes.
have Dijakovic win again because as great as their matches are, do we really want to see Dijakovic versus Keith Lee again right away? No, because like I
No.
said, next time they fight, Dijakovic needs to win.
Yes.
So you need to have that feud be like a SummerSlam or like sometime in the next coming months, not
A little later in the
yeah,
year, not
yeah,
right away, because
yeah.
like you're
So
gonna keep wasting really legit matches that could be used for other potential pay-per-views.
and to me, Dijakovic is. I'm not saying Cameron Grimes needed to get like a dirty win over him, but hey, it gets Cameron Grimes the win. To me, he's still kind of a heel. Damian Priest is clearly a heel, and he interfered in the match, like we said, and then it, maybe, does something with them, and that kind of because they were still selling the back injury for Dijakovic. So then, he got taken out by Priest. So then maybe you don't have him be on TV for a couple weeks to kind of just, hey, now he's out of the picture. Now it can be Keith Lee versus Damian Priest, Keith Lee, Cameron Grimes. There's different things you can do, and that's a way to get Dijakovic off TV. But it was a great match, like you said, and it continues that mid card North American Championship.
Like, see, the mid card in when it comes to NXT, and when it comes to this brand, is completely stocked. It's
Mm-hmm.
good, and see, you have a lot of alternatives. You have a lot of choices. You
Yeah,
can pick whoever.
and this is one thing before you take us through the match is and like you said, the mid card is so stocked, and then you look at the mid card on AEW, and there's no mid card.
Yeah.
It's all main event. Like I said, where was there's no Joey Janela, Kip Sabian? Is that feud done? If
Yeah.
it's done, it must have been concluded on AEW Dark because I didn't see it. Why isn't that at Revolution?
You even told me about Sean Spears, like he's tagging with the librarian. So okay,
Yeah,
there you go. That was a mid card guy that could have been the leader of that mid
yeah,
division right there. Completely overlooked. He went back from being jobber WWE, jobber in AEW.
yeah.
Do you
So
see any progression? No.
yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, there's just the main event scene in AEW is like huge because there's so many people in the main event, and then there's like nobody in the mid card. You're either a jobber or main event. There's no in the middle.
There's no, and like I said to you, they need a title, a mid card title, so bad, just because that way you can give all these guys another reason to fight for, and also that will be a nice spot in the middle of the show, also.
Exactly, something to fight for. Because what does Damian Priest always say? When he wants something, he comes and takes it.
Yeah.
He
So
wouldn't. He wouldn't be fighting Keith Lee and Dijakovic and all these guys if there's nothing to come and take. But you give him
exactly,
something to take, the North American Championship.
exactly right. So like Jean Paul was saying, like because of Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes gets the win. But we're gonna take you to some spots like usual. So Dijakovic rolls to the apron, and Grimes slides into Dijakovic, but Dijakovic evades as Grimes slides to the outside. Dijakovic hits a moonsault on Grimes that he always hits that perfectly, and rolls Grimes back to the ring. The referee checks on Grimes in the ring while the ref is distracted. Dijakovic is taken out on the apron from a nightstick attack from to the knee by Damian Priest, who escapes into the crowd. That was really cool. Like you always said, when you're gonna attack somebody, can you not play my music? Just let me come.
Mm-hmm.
Unexpected. I hit. I do my move and I leave. So
Mm-hmm.
Dijakovic he does the riding in pain in the outside and just barely makes it back into the ring before the 10 count. Just as Dijakovic ends in the ring, Grimes hits him with a cave-in, covering for the 3 count. So good, like you said, it's important for Cameron Grimes to get this win. I think out of the two, the one that is benefit the most is Cameron Grimes because he's a good athlete, but most of the time he's been on the losing end lately.
Yeah,
So
and what do you think? Like, would you have rather seen the cave in and done like we saw, or him? Because when he made it back in when the 10 count, because I thought he was done. Then he makes it back in at like 9.9, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, maybe he's gonna win this match. Cave in and done, and I'm like, okay, why didn't you just suffer the count out loss then?
yeah, I
Like,
would much rather see the cave in than that. You don't need to add the 10. But you know why they did it, though? What was taking place at the same time that involved 10 count? on
Yeah,
AEW.
yeah, the Iron Man
The
match.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
So it's just they do that because, of course, they copy from each other. It's just how it is. We're not going to be blind about this situation and pretend that they're not checking each other. They are. So, like I said, I think I would have much rather just cave in and done because you don't need to add the 10 count because you see Dijakovic does all that effort for nothing. Because at the
Yes.
end he gets finished and done. So, Mr. William Regal is backstage saying that starting next week, there will be a series of matches to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT Takeover Tampa. So, and this match also is going to be a ladder match. So that's really cool. So they're
Oh
already
yeah,
making
I think
this
that'll be
legit.
yeah, that'll be really cool. And there's going to be a lot of people in it. Hopefully we see not just like the established talent. Like I hope it's not just like Mia Yim, Candice LeRae. Like no offense to them because they're all great, but they've had their time. This
Yeah.
needs to be like Mercedes Martinez, Shotzi Blackheart, maybe a Zaya Lee, or somebody like that, or there's just so many new women. Maybe Chelsea Green gets a few more wins under her belt, put her in there. Not saying she's going to win it, but I want to see the new fresh faces. I don't know. And now if Io Shirai's healthy, I would put her in there just because she's returning from an
And
injury.
returning Io
Yeah,
Shirai will be
yeah,
cool. Maybe Scarlett will be good.
yeah.
Santana Garrett will be good.
That's what I.
Aiden Carter,
Yeah, that's hey. Put in. I mean, you can put in like maybe one or two, like maybe Tegan Knox or Dakota Kai, whoever wins their feud. Maybe put them in there. Raquel Gonzalez. I don't know if they're doing six man, 8 man. I don't know how many are going to be in it. But I want to see new faces because we haven't seen, like I said, Shotzi. She got a big pop the last 2-3 times that she showed up, and now we haven't seen her. She went
yeah,
ghost, so it's like, what's going on?
yeah, like sometimes, and that's kind of like a positive and a negative, just because sometimes, like for example, you start missing those people, and when you
Hmm.
see them, then you get even extremely excited when you see them instead
Yeah,
of like
because
seeing them every single week.
yeah,
Is like
and
you lose
that's
the level of excitement.
and that's how the Undisputed Era are. They're the opposite. We see them every freaking week, and it's like we're sick of these guys now.
Yes,
And that's
exactly.
the same
So
problem I have, like I say. And I know you guys probably love it. Every week I bring it up, the Young Bucks and the
mhm.
Elite. Why do we have to see them every week, every segment? It's like, who are these guys? We don't
And
care.
like Jean Paul is always when it comes to that, I'm with him 100%. Just because again, and I'm just gonna say 2 seconds on the Iron Man match. I don't understand why the Young Bucks needs to be next to Kenny Omega. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that you when the chair shot was when Pac hit him with the chair, the Young Bucks were checking on Kenny Omega. The Rev is checking on Kenny Omega. You're taking away everything that makes wrestling special by doing this. So that
Hmm.
was my 2 cents on that. So Mr. Egg, we're back from commercial and we see Dijakovic assisted to the back by medical staff and WWE personnel. So the alarms are like kind of going because there might be a possibility that like Dominic Dijakovic might be injured. So we get more information as we receive it and we'll report it in all of the social media sites
Yeah,
that
but
we have.
like to me, I mean, it's a work. Like he's not
It's
actually
not
no.
legit.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'll tell everybody right now. Hey, breaking news, everybody on rope break. It's a work. Like to me, like I said, that's a way to get him off TV. So then he's not in the feud for the North American Championship. Then it can be these other two guys, Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest. We saw Killian Dane get a win here. He could challenge, as well. He might go after Adam Cole. Who knows? We've been saying that for how many months ago that he should go after Adam Cole or Walter, but then it seems Walter's going after Balor. So, we'll see. Because Killian Dane, he's always going like this. He's always like, "Give me the belt." So, and I think
Maybe he wants to buy a real belt. Maybe he doesn't have enough money to
yeah,
afford a
yeah,
regular
yeah.
belt.
He's like, I need more pay. He's like, Nikki stole all my belts since I lost weight. I don't know what's
Yes,
going on here.
exactly. Yeah. So, Mr. Egg, I'm talking about the guy that beat Johnny Gargano at NXT Takeover Portland. Finn Balor comes out and walks out to the ring. He grabs a mic and talks about he is the guy. When the bell rings, he runs down this list of accomplishments. He says, "I've been the Intercontinental Champion, Universal Champion. You talk about Japan. I conquered Japan. You want me to talk about?" I said NXT. I conquer NXT, and he
Yeah, and
says,
I like
"Well,
he said Japan, Mexico. And he's like, I've done it, I've done it, I've done it. The one place I like how he didn't say was he didn't really mention like Britain or like the UK,
yes."
and then that's going into who attacked him. But
Yes,
yeah,
and then he goes, while everybody's trying to pick for WrestleMania, he's been at his peak for 20 years. What's next for the Prince? While running down the list of people he's facing returning to the NXT, Imperium music hits.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, 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 mm. So I was thinking we think Walter is gonna come out, but then Fabian Agner and Marcel Bartel come down to the ring when Bartel says that like there is something that Finn hasn't done yet, and that's going to the NXT UK champion Walter, and he is sending his regards. So Balor takes down Bartel and Agner, which I enjoyed this Link Blade. That was really cool how he did it, and then how he kicked. I think it was Bartel into the barricade, and then Balor tries to drive pick Fabian Agner, but Bartel intercepts him, and then they take out Finn Balor, driving his head into the steel steps with a knee strike. Then Bartel and Agner pose over downed Balor. So I think that like I don't know where this is going though. I don't know if this is going to be WrestleMania. I don't know if this is going to
Yeah,
be NXT over Tampa. I don't know where this is
to
going.
me,
So it's
I
very
would
intriguing.
I would book this at Takeover Tampa, and then I mean, it's tough to say because like Finn Balor had this role and this momentum, and I thought the feud would be at Takeover Tampa would be Balor and Cole, and Balor would
Yeah,
beat Cole and become the NXT champion again. But if
yeah.
you're not going to do that and you're going to do this, to me, like maybe he's the one who beats Walter.
Which I don't know if I will be happy with that. I don't know. I don't think that
But
makes a lot of sense.
I don't know who beats Walter. You know what I mean? He's beating everybody. The only
Uh,
person who I like, there's nobody to beat. We said Drew McIntyre, but clearly he's in a better spot than over there. And we said Cesaro, but there's no way Cesaro's such a loser. Not in my mind, but in the WWE world, he's such a loser. There's no way that that match would even be believable, just from a
I think Jean
rating
Paul
standpoint.
Marco Stan or Mansoor, one of
I'd
them.
rather see Mansoor than Marco Stunt, but
Yeah, but like, well, no, they're talking in all seriousness. I really don't know who will be the guy that could go head to head with Walter
mhm,
and beat him.
yeah.
So in my head, like I said, it's weird to think maybe like a Killer Cross, but that's way outside of like
Yeah, no. To me,
the
it's got to be
the jar of
somebody. Yeah,
possibilities.
no. It's not going to be no American guy who's going to beat
It
him.
has to be maybe Finn Balor. You might be right. I will say Sheamus. For me, I will go with Sheamus. Sheamus will be so legit to go in NXT
But
UK.
yeah,
Go there, be with his people, and win the
but
NXT.
like let me back you up a little bit. I don't want it to be, and we're gonna get into this when we in our next video. I don't want it to be no Goldberg bullshit where you show up, cut one promo, boom, win the championship. They attacked Finn Balor. They aggravated Balor. Now this builds a storyline for a couple weeks. A month and a half, however long till WrestleMania, 70, 80 some days, whatever it is. And then boom, then he beats Walter. I mean, he might not even beat him, but if he does, at least you had a month and a half, 2 months feud leading up to it. Not you just boom show up. Hey, I'm a veteran. I'm a legend. Give me my title shot and win and done. To me,
And
like if there's no booking and there's no story, I don't care.
who will do that, right, Jean Paul? Who will do that? What company will book
Well,
a
that's why.
legend
See,
52-year-old and will make the win the
that's
championship?
that's why Vince isn't in charge of anything NXT related. So
Yes,
that's why
exactly.
I don't think your dream of Sheamus will happen, unfortunately for
But
you. But
at
we'll
least
see.
I have a dream because my dream was to have a dream, like Scary Movie 3 will say in the promo that they were doing a parody about Eminem with 8 Mile. But we'll see, Jean Paul. We get 2 video packages after that. One hyping up Austin Theory and his match with Tommaso Ciampa that you said in the week last week, and I even back you up on this because like why is this match taking? I don't really understand where this is going because Ciampa is actually the heel now because of what he did to poor Austin Theory. But we're gonna talk about this in a little bit. And then back from commercial, we get to see Bianca Belair, and she's showing arriving backstage. And she said, "Oh, Charlotte's already here," but she's like, "Okay, well, she's gonna give it to Charlotte tonight." And I love the line, "You don't even go here." I love how like people get popped for that. So we get Jean Paul a match that, like you said, is trying to give us a little bit of different women now. He's trying to hype up different women, and it's Xia Li against Mia Yim. Xia Li from China. She's a really great, I think, I would say like a kung fu fighter. I don't know of a wrestler yet, but her kicks, like how she executes that's lethal. I really
Yeah,
respect that a lot from her.
yeah, and I was excited to see this match, but then of course, I don't like they have to mesh another story line into this match, and then this match really wasn't even a match, but
Exactly. It was really
you know,
quick. and it's because like there was an interruption. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez come out, and they interfere in the match, and that's how Xia Li was able to roll up Mia Yim,
Yeah,
and
that's what I mean. Yeah,
that
like
was
it
the end of
wasn't.
it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't even a match. She had a little bit of back and forth, but then Mia Yim was dominating. Like you said, she came out. She was like, "Oh, blah blah blah. I took you out of Takeover, War Games and this and that." And Mia Yim, just the stupid baby face, is just staring at her. And then she gets rolled up and done. And it was like, okay, I would have rather seen a competitive matchup between these two, but I guess we got what
Nope.
we get.
There was no time for that. Yeah, like you said, exactly that's what happened. And then Mia Yim is stunned at her loss, but doesn't have much time to process it as Gonzalez comes down to the ring and attacks Mia Yim. Then Xia Li tries to come to the rescue, but Gonzalez is too much and is able to easily dispatch both Mia Yim and Xia Li, and Dakota Kai and Gonzalez taunt the crowd as they go to the back. So pretty simple, like you said, they didn't do much for anybody. And that's the one thing is like I know there's a lot of depth in the women's division, but matches like this, like you said, that they don't have enough time to let their own performer get over with the crowd. And
Hmm.
like you said, they have to always mix another storyline, like a main storyline with a small storyline. And in
Yeah,
this
well,
case,
what
Dakota Kai and Gonzalez is the main one.
Yeah, what happened with the Bianca Belair? With Chelsea Green had the match with Caden Carter, I believe, and then Bianca came out and she's like, "Oh yeah, you two are great. I'm gonna let you guys finish." But and then she cuts a promo and it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
Like I'm not just like an NXT, mark. I'm gonna shit on them when they deserve it. And this is the thing: when the women's matches that they book legit are legit, and then these other ones, like their mid card and below, for the women, they don't care. They're like, meh, you know you guys can look like idiots as the big boys or the big girls come out and cut promos, and then you guys are,
exactly.
and to me
Exactly.
that's it's kind of bullshit, but what am I,
It, you know, and,
there's
and that's
nothing I
why I
can do
feel
to
that like
change it. Yeah.
it's not getting as exciting as it could be, but it's maybe in these little things that they can tweak because you know how Triple H is. Some ways it will be a little bad, but you can tweak it and it will be legit one more time. So Tommaso Ciampa is shown backstage preparing for his match, and then Austin Theory will be next. And then we get a promo like Jean Paul was saying, the Velveteen Dream, and he's talking about how he beat Roderick Strong, but he said it's not enough. It's not enough for the Dream. So the Dream and Roderick Strong are going to face each other next week because William Regal gave permission and then said it's going to be held in a steel cage.
Hmm.
So extremely great for the Dream. I really love how like the metrosexual side of the Velveteen Dream. How he cuts the promo, he has that like very feminine hat, and
Hmm.
he's talking about and he's doing the mannerisms and all of that. It's like it
Oh
adds
yeah,
a
it's
lot.
yeah, it's very like Prince. Like I mean, that's clearly a
Prince,
big
that's what it's based on.
inspiration.
Yes,
Yeah.
but like it's so legit, and then like you said, hopefully the match delivers because that's the one thing that like we wanted to see last week, and we didn't get it. So
Yeah.
this week, I hope that like they do a better job giving us a better match. And we have two steel cage matches. I really don't know why in the same show though you will have two steel cage matches because that takes away the one from the other. But that's only me, Jean Paul.
Yeah, I mean they got to do it if they got to do it that I think one opens the show and then one closes the show.
Yeah, that will do that. Yeah,
I think you have to book it like that, like how they do a pay-per-view, like oh, the women's Royal Rumble opens the show, the men's closes it, something like that. You can't
yeah.
have them
So
be
it's
back
not
to
back
back.
to back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. The Egg, we get to go now to Tommaso Ciampa against Austin Theory. Pretty legit match,
Yeah,
but we knew the outcome. Like you said, the
yeah.
one thing that NXT is doing wrong, and is like the outcomes are very predictable.
Yeah, in this match it was legit, but I'm going to give that mostly to Austin Theory. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm watching a lot more of Ciampa's matches because, covering everything in depth and rope break here, but Tommaso Ciampa he's good, but he's not as good as people were like bragging him up to be. I see he's like, like the Widow's Bell is legit, the fairy tale ending is legit, but like just and maybe it's because he's older, but this dude is like hitting moves. It almost reminds me like the Miz. Like when he hits the knee strikes and stuff, I'm like, dude, you look like you're gassed, you're winded, you have like no power, no oomph behind these moves, and I'm like, but Austin Theory's legit. But like we said, Ciampa, of course, he had to get the win, and it was like, why? What's the point? It's like the same thing with Bronson Reed. We saw him wrestle the past couple weeks. He had a match tonight against Killian Dane, and he loses. And it's like I understand someone has to win, someone has to lose, but this is your future, this is your talent. How can you say like, oh, this is our future? What, your future is a bunch of losers?
Yeah, And that's what I mean. Like, why would you not like? I mean, the match is legit. Again, like I said, like you're saying, Austin Theory, he did a great job. Like the guy in 1 or 2 years, he's probably going to be the face of NXT. He's going
Mm-hmm.
to be the main guy. For example, I think that at some point we're going to see Adam Cole against Austin Theory, and that will be like a marquee match, being like one of the main event matches in an NXT takeover or like in the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Because this guy has a lot of potential. He already has like a really good move set. He has a really good, intensity. Maybe promo we haven't seen much from him, but I really like what I've seen.
Yeah.
And but like you said, of course, Champa has to get the win because he's in the probably besides the title match, he's in the next storyline that is supposed to be like the main event, and that's
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano and him. So we get to see that. But and like you said, I don't know. Champa to me as a babyface, it doesn't work. He needs to be the other way around. He needs to be the one causing the problems. He needs to be the one screwing matches. A lot of people, like we've said this so many times when ever since we've been doing the show, either you're a good babyface or a good heel. There's very few wrestlers that can have that duality,
Mm-hmm.
but Ciampa is not one of them.
Yeah. No.
Unfortunately, he has suffers from the misses. The same thing. Like you mentioned, the miss. He's a terrible babyface. He's a great heel. So, I know, like usual, let's go through some highlights of the match. Austin Theory picks up Ciampa, but Ciampa kicks out Theory, then goes for the fairy tale ending again, but Theory evades and hits Ciampa with a kick to the back of the head. Then Theory kicks Alexia again, covering Ciampa for a 2, and Ciampa goes to the outside and Theory gives them chase. Then Theory tosses Ciampa into the barricades for barricade, like Ciampa did to Theory last week, and is just trying to recreate the same spot. And then
Mm-hmm.
Theory tosses Ciampa back in the ring, and Theory goes to get back in the ring, but Ciampa catches him with a Widow's Bell, and then he does the fairy tale ending, and Austin Theory loses to Tommaso Ciampa, 1, 2, 3. He gets the win. After the
So
match, yeah, go ahead.
let me before you get into the post match. So essentially, he gets his ass kicked, thrown into the barricade multiple times. Austin Theory sold that last week. He sold the getting thrown into the barricade. Champa, I don't know if he is like Goku and he ate a sensu bean or what this dude's deal is. He no sells getting thrown into the barricade, multiple times, thrown in the ring, and he, like I said, he doesn't sell that attack at all. Widow's Bell, fairy tale ending, and done.
And done.
To me, it was like at that point, Johnny Gargano should have came out and beat down both of them.
Yeah.
If you don't want Ciampa to lose, but you don't want and you don't want Theory to win, then that's what you do. But like no selling the barricade attack. I don't like when NXT their main event guys they become superhuman. They just no sell everything.
Yeah. And
Like
then,
this
and
guy,
like you
like
said, like,
he gets kicked to the back of the head multiple times through the match, and they're like, "Oh, not the surgically repaired neck! Oh my god!" And he's like, "Okay." It's
it's
like
good.
clearly his neck is made of fucking titanium, and it's like that's the thing. I'm like that annoys me. It's like don't like, and commentary tries to get something over, but then the match does the exact opposite. So it's
It
like
should
don't,
be more like along, right?
yeah,
It should be, yeah. Don't do the one thing if you're gonna actually show me a different thing. So that's the one thing I agree with you. And also, when Johnny Gargano comes out, like Champa was waiting for him.
hmm
It should be like I think maybe Johnny missed his cue or something, but it should have been as soon as Champa is celebrating for the win, then Johnny should have been and starts kicking him out, because at some point Champa was actually dominating Johnny.
yeah. That's what I mean. I don't get it. I don't. I mean, the crowd likes it. I'm not gonna say they love it, but the crowd likes it to a certain extent. That Ciampa is being like pushed to the moon like this, but I don't know. I've just never been big on Tommaso Ciampa, even as a heel. I mean, I thought he was a way better heel than a babyface, but I've just never been like that. I'm not a Tommaso Ciampa mark.
Yeah, and you're right. And see, like after the match, Johnny Gargano comes to the crowd and attacks Champa. Gargano kicks away and Champa into the corner, but Champa hits a boot to Gargano's face. See, that's what I mean. Why is he getting no some offense?
Mm.
And gets the upper hand. See? Theory temporarily distracts Champa, and Gargano uses the distraction to hit a super kick on Champa, and then Gargano hits a DIY style kick to the side of Champa's face. Champa rolls to the apron, and Gargano sits on the apron and mocks Tommaso, hand clapped on. Then Gargano looks at the NXT TakeOver Tampa Bay logo on the ground in front of the ring, and he tosses Champa onto it. Then Gargano circles and and grounded Ciampa before taking out the DIY low shirt that is in his pocket and stares it. Then we go to commercial. So we know that like an NXT takeover Tampa, we're gonna see Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano again.
And this is gonna, and obviously this match is way better, and the storyline is at least there. But this is Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns territory.
One more
Is
time.
it the last time? No.
It's like we don't. To me, I told you in these reviews that we've been doing, I don't need to see it. I've seen it enough. 2 years ago they did that 3 pay-per-views in a row. To me, you don't need to revisit feuds like this. If there's not really like a story for it, and there was no reason to do this, at least on my end. Commercial break, and then we get Roderick Strong, and he's talking to the rest of the Undisputed Era about how he wants the Velveteen Dream in the Steel Cage match. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly talk about how their Broserweights got lucky at the NXT TakeOver Portland, and they will not get lucky again. So Adam Cole tells Strong and that he will regain the North American Championship, and Fish and O'Reilly will regain the Tag Team Championships, and the prophecy will be fulfilled once, not once again. So Jean Paul, at least, NXT, at least they give you a little bit of what we've been asking. And what was that? Can we not see the Undisputed Era for 1 week? We didn't see the Undisputed Era this week. So at least, hey, a video package, you always said in the NXT review, in AEW Raw reviews, you always say a video package is always better because at least it's 3 minutes and I don't have to see these guys. I know that they're still there, but I don't get to see them. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, and like you said, it was short. It was sweet. They said what they had to say. At least they didn't come out, interfere in a match, or beat somebody down, or this or that. It was what it was. It was short, sweet, got the point across. Let's move on.
Let's move on to Bronson Reed, Mr. Leg, against Killian Dane, a guy that like always like is like I need to buy new belts or I can win a belt. So we don't know what's going on. My wife is with Alexa Bliss. I don't understand what's going on. She sometimes is good, sometimes she's bad, and I'm lost in the shuffle. I used to, like be good. I used to belong to a great, kind of successful stable. They took that away from me. They put me in a singles role. I don't know what's going on. Killian Dane. So they have a match with Bronson Reed. Good match. And in the end, the right man wins just because they need to push Killian Dane if they want to make him some kind of like a threat. Correct?
Yeah, and I agree. But now it's at the point where Killian Dane, like, it's enough of like pushing him. Like they're slowly pushing him. You need to just push him and just be done with it. Because, what's he going to do now? So now he beat Bronson Reed, which it was fine. But, like, what are you going to do with him? Is he not? If he's not on TV for 3 weeks and then he shows up again and beats someone else, then it's like, okay, like you need to have him on TV next week cutting a promo. Then maybe he's not on the following week, but then the week after that, he needs to be on TV going face-to-face with whoever he cut a promo on. If he got the promo on Keith Lee, have them, have a stare down in 2 weeks. You need to do something like that. You can't keep, have this guy be off TV for a month, have him show up again because, in today's day and age, we don't retain information like that because there's so much stuff going around. There's so much, not talking coronavirus going around, but there's we have NWA, AEW, main roster, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, any independent wrestling, Outbreak wrestling, what I mean?
Outbreak wrestling, baby.
You know what I mean? There's so much stuff going around that it's like, unless we're seeing it constantly, we're going to forget it and you're going to get lost in the shuffle. And that's Killian Dane, the story of his career. So, I hope that they push him, but it needs to be a continued push.
It needs to be something like more noticeable, more main event. A win against Ciampa, a win against Gargano, a win against Keith Lee. Somebody that's going to make me turn
If anything, they'll probably have him beat the Future. They'll probably have him beat Austin Theory or something where it's like, oh, okay,
But that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Well, so Bronson Reed gets Dane in a fireman's carry, but Dane evades and hits with a Samoan drop on Reed. And then Dane goes for the Vader bomb on Reed, but Reed gets his knees up. Then Reed hits with a diving DDT from the top rope. That was a beautiful spot. And a dead drop driver for a 2 count. Then Reed goes to the top rope, but Dane gives a chase. Then Dane hits a superplex on Bronson Reed from the top rope. Then Dane follows it up with a series on sentons. And then a Vader bomb on Reed covering for the 3 count. I would much rather see the One Wing Angel, but of course we're not going to do that because already some guy in the show right next door just used that to get a win. But like you said, Killian Dane, if they're going to push him, push him. Don't give me this half-ass push. Like
Yeah.
to win 2 weeks in a row, he wins, and then he has to go with a top talent, and then he's done. So we'll see what happens with Killian Dane. We get after that a video package from the Forgotten Sons, and they said that we were told that like they're facing the Grizzly on veterans, and it's gonna be a great match. But before that, we get a video package recapping the rise of the Broserweights. We didn't get to see that, and that's why Jean Paul has a little bit of a tear in his eye because we get to see, bro. But
Bro.
hopefully, we get to see him. Of course, we'll see him next week. And then, like Jean Paul was saying, Real Young Veterans, the Forgotten Sons, Steve Cutler, and Wesley Blake. This match, like I was talking to Jean Paul before in the preparation for the show, is like, okay, they get a match. The Forgotten Sons, at least they're getting TV time. But
Mhm.
against the Real Young Veterans, they've been pushing the Real Young Veterans, so therefore we know who's going to get the win.
Exactly, and it was one of those matches where it was great. Everything considered. I'll never say a match isn't good just because the person who I thought should have won or wanted to win didn't win. But it does definitely take away from a match. And this one, like we keep saying about NXT, sometimes they're extremely predictable. And this was another one. It was predictable. The Forgotten Sons come out there, and you know that they're just going to lose. They're like the butcher and the blade of NXT, of AEW. They're
Yeah.
they're a team where you see them, and it's like, oh, these guys look legit. But as soon as that bell rings, they're a bunch of jobbers, just wearing costumes to look legit. They're not, oh, they're big muscular guys. No, they're not. They're like 100-pound wimps that are going to get crushed. And I'm not saying it was a job match, but at the end, they do the job for everybody because they never get
Yeah.
the win.
And that, like you said, like the Forgotten Sons maybe deserve a little better, but they're of course they're pushing the Grills Young Veterans to the moon because we know they're a great tag team. That's for
Hmm.
sure. They came out and even Gibson was saying, "Oh, you Yanks." And all of that, like you're
Hmm.
gonna see what the real potential of the Grills Young Veterans, and they gave a great match. But like you said, the
Yeah.
outcome is very predictable.
And the one thing I did like, which is or I guess this is an NXT UK. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't watch. I watch a couple highlights, when I can, not from every show. And obviously we cover the pay-per-view events, but I guess something they do over there, they say take off your shoes if you hate Zach Gibson.
Yeah,
So then all
yeah.
the fans over there, they take off their shoes and I guess they hold them up. So, it probably smells wonderful in that arena. But I'm sure, they're all holding their shoes up. And I guess that's what they did in NXT, last night. So then, because I know Nigel McGuinness was freaking out, he's like, I can't believe they took off their shoes. That's such disrespect. And then he kind of explained it that it's something that they do over there. So I thought that was cool that this crowd, emulated that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like is at least they know. Well, you mentioned something. It's like if you're a mark for NXT, you're gonna be watching everything that like is like in the NXT like radar, and that's the one thing many people probably see what's going on NXT UK, and that's why they did it. And at least it transcends, and you
Hmm.
you can see that they're given the kind like you want it or not, the Grizzly veterans are over. They're starting to get over in America. So that was cool. So let's go to some highlights of the match like we always do. Riker doesn't like how he's being chased by Gibson, but then Drake hits a tope onto Riker. Back in the ring, Drake rolls up Blake for a 2 count. Then Blake hits a dropkick on Drake, and Drake tags into Gibson. Then Blake goes for a moonsault on Gibson, but Drake pushes him out of the way, and they avoid the moonsault, and they hit Cutler with the ticket to Mayhem. I love the name. I love the moon, and
Hmm.
they get the 3 count. They get the win. Real Jump veterans. I can see this match happening at NXT Takeover Tampa, and I can tell you it's going to be the Undisputed Era. It's going to be Real Girls Young Veterans and Broserweights for the NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, and to me, if you do a triple threat, which I know you go crazy, you get HARD for the triple threats. I'm not a fan of triple threats, so we
You
that's
hate
where that's
everything I
where
love, Jean Paul.
that's where
I
we
know. I
agree
don't know
to
why.
that's where we agree to disagree. But if that's what they do, then to me, the Grizzled Young Veterans are going to pin Undisputed Era, and they're going to be the champions. I don't want to see them being pushed because Shawn Michaels is in love with them, and Triple H, he's always does what Shawn wants. So, like, what are you going to do? Have the Broserweights lose? And then, I mean, obviously, they're two single stars. You're not going to have two single stars be in your tag team division forever. But I feel like as soon as they lose, they're going to get split up. And NXT already has 0 tag teams. So you're going to lose one of your tag teams already in like
Yeah,
in
it
two
is true.
months.
It
So
is
that
true.
to me, I
I
would have
mean,
rather seen the Forgotten Sons win, have them be on the WrestleMania of NXT at Tampa, And then, obviously, unfortunately, they would probably lose unless there'd be some Cinderella story where they beat, the Broserweight, which they're not going to do. So, but at least, they get a main event match,
Oh yeah,
on a show like that. So,
exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you. 1,000%. Hopefully, they do something different, and I don't want to see the Grill John Veterans champions yet.
hmm
Maybe leave it for the summer, and that will be better because you have a lot of time to build them up. So, Mr. We get to see promo, but like a perplexing. It's like a promo weird. He's showing war imagery and a ticking clock. To me, that's Killer Cross. Let's not. This Killer Cross. They're just starting to give you some vignettes about it. It's just him.
hmm
So hopefully he debuts either the day, either after Tampa or during NXT Takeover Tampa. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens with that. Roderick Strong versus the Velveteen Dream and Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai are both announced for next week's. We already talked about this. Steel cage match. Hopefully, both of them deliver. And then we get Damian Priest. He's going out with two women. That was my thing. It's like he's a pimp. This
hmm
guy is awesome. He has it. He's just walking with the girls, and then we get to see the replacement from Kathy Kelly. We get to see this woman, and she goes and asks, "What did you do? What you did? Well, what happened? Why did you do this?" And he says he has nothing. He's nothing personal to Dijakovic, but he's in his way to get the North American Championship. And like you said, he said Damian Priest gets what Damian Priest wants. So really cool, very simple. And now we go to the main event, Jean Paul, Bianca Belair against Charlotte Flair. And here I want to hear your thoughts because then I'm gonna rant a little bit. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, this match again predictable, but Bianca, like it's hard to say. I mean, I guess this was the right outcome because you're not gonna have Flair lose going into the matchup with Rhea Ripley. But I mean, one thing you could have done is this match could have been because Rhea said a couple weeks ago she was like, yeah, Flair, I challenge you and this and that, and Bianca, I'm coming for you as well. But at the end of the day, we are NXT, so she should always have like Bianca's back. I would have booked this thing where she hits the spear, and then maybe she doesn't go because she hit the spear to end the match. She hit the spear and then kind of went into like a natural selection. It wasn't like a legit natural selection. It was, I don't want to say it was botched, but she hit it, and then that was done. I would have rather seen spear figure four and then go into the figure eight and then have Rhea come out and blast her when she's in
Yes.
the figure eight, and then Charlotte wins on a DQ, but then, or even have Rhea knock Charlotte when the ref has his back turned. Like maybe she could have speared Bianca into the turnbuckle, and then the ref checks on Bianca. Rhea jumps the barricade, slugs Charlotte, and then Bianca hits the KOD for the win.
Yeah, I just don't.
You
For
could have
me,
did something where she was like, "Hey, like you know, like she does a favor for Bianca because they're NXT alum, they're NXT teammates, whatever you want to call it. But like Charlotte getting the clean win and then having Rhea just stand on the ramp and watch her beat Bianca down, put her leg in the chair or whatever that was, and then it's like okay, then she comes down to make the save, and it's like she didn't even make the save. She was getting off on one. She's like, yeah, go ahead, beat her up, beat her up. You
yeah, and,
done?
and, and
Okay.
then and then she raises the belt.
Yeah,
That's
and
all.
it's like okay, like
It
why
was a
come
good
out? Like
match,
yeah, it's the
but
same. Yeah.
in the end, always the female Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair gets the win. Like you would have said, I would have just much rather to finish this in a DQ, and then of course I'm gonna keep lobbying for it, and then my triple threat happens at WrestleMania. But of course Charlotte gets the win, and also like Rhea Ripley, just it took like a good 5 minutes for the entrance, and I didn't like that at all. I
hmm
did not like that at all. Like you said, if she's gonna do something, go right away. Don't need to like you come in, you sit there waiting for your music to hit, then you do your tone, and then you go there. And I
Yeah.
don't understand why Charlotte also like use the chair on that. So we're gonna go right away to this. Belair drop kicks Charlotte to the outside and attacks her, but then back in the ring, Belair hits a spear on Charlotte, but Charlotte hits a spear of her own, covering Belair for the 3 count. Doesn't even need natural selection.
No,
Doesn't
she
even
hit it.
need.
No, she hit it.
She does it, but she didn't finish it.
Yeah.
And natural selection is the finisher.
Yeah, I mean, she hit a spear. Then, like I said, she hit like a weird natural selection.
So I
Yeah.
just this whole thing, and also like a spear of her, like she didn't sell Bianca's spear. So for me, didn't make a lot of sense. After the match, Charlotte grabs a chair and attacks Bianca's leg with the chair, then locks it in the figure 4 or the figure 8. Figure 8, and then Ripley comes out and made for the save, but there's no save.
Yeah, like
She's
I said,
standing.
she's already done.
She's already done, and then Charlotte leaves the ring when Ripley arrives. And she's taunting her from the outside as the NXT goes off the air. So Jean Paul, I think that this whole thing, I didn't like the outcome of the main event. Like I said, I would like you were mentioning, I would much rather to see it on a DQ. That way you're protecting Bianca, because if you elevate her that much to this level, she loses at Portland. Done. Like you always said, back in the line. And now that the only reason that you were kind of like, okay, let's try to push her again, then you make her lose again.
Yeah, like you said, if you were going to do anything with her, she needed to win against Charlotte in some fashion, and she didn't do that. So now I think she's done, because I mean, they're probably going to have her sell the injury for a little bit, and there's no way what she's going to come back and be like, I want my revenge on Charlotte, or I want my revenge on Rhea. She's not just, this isn't main roster. They're not just going to be like, oh, okay. William Regal's probably going to be like, well, I'll put you in the ladder match. And then do you want to see her win the ladder match? No. I'd rather see somebody new win that ladder match. Like I said, to me, that's like a Mercedes Martinez. That's somebody like that
like
winning.
You were saying, like maybe like a Tegan Nox, like a Shotzi,
Yeah,
like
that's
Kaden Carter.
that's who I would want to see win that match. Like to me, so I think Bianca is done. I think if the chair injury, if they're gonna sell that, I think she's done. And then after Mania, we see her on Raw.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That might be the one, or maybe there's like maybe an elimination chamber, which Roper will be there. Maybe she attacks Charlotte if Charlotte is doing anything at Elimination Chamber, or she shows up on Monday Night Raw. We'll see where this goes, and from there we'll be able to tell if either she's gonna go and make this a triple threat. So Jean Paul, we wrapped up the show. Another, like you said, I don't think that was a home run when it comes to NXT. A little better, but it needs to be just an extra edge for me.
Yeah, I would say that I enjoyed this show the same amount I enjoyed AEW. Like I said, this show, the in-ring action wasn't as good, but at least there was some storytelling. And with AEW, it was a go-home show. And they kind of, like I said, everything is like meshed together. And I like when things are meshed together, but it's meshed together too much. Like we saw Moxley and Jericho at the weigh-in. And then Jake Hager was up there because, of course, the whole Inner Circle comes out with Moxley. And then, like, Dustin Rhodes just shows up. You know what I mean? And it's just, like, why didn't he cut a promo? Like, I like to see more promos. AEW is, like, scared of promos. They have, promo phobia. They're like, no, we can't. Like, we don't like those. We don't like video packages. And it's like, why? That's what you do on a go-home show.
We got to send them to the ring.
They just do big brawls. And to me, I get lost in that. I'm like, I don't care. Like, okay, you guys are all fighting, and then, he throws him into the Dippin' Dots. Okay, unless you're giving me a cup of Dippin' Dots to eat, I don't care about that. Cut a promo on the guy.
Yes.
Let me see some legit wrestling. But that's what I mean. So, like, that show, it was, like, the in-ring action was better, but the storytelling wasn't as good, which NXT this week had not so good in-ring action because some of the outcomes. So, both shows were even to me.
Exactly.
No show real had the edge.
So, Robert family, don't forget to please always subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for all the notifications. We're always putting content. As you can see, we have Monday Night Raw, we have AEW, we have soccer, we have a lot of things. This week is absolutely crazy. We're going to come back in a little bit with more content. Believe it or not, like we just, we don't have lives here, but like we love to do this. So please, subscribe, help us out, follow us in all the social media world. So in the name of Jean Paul and myself, thank you so very much. We'll be back with more content, like I said, in a little bit. And